Sicily.
The biggest active volcano in Europe, and she ordered to kill all the children of Niobe.
Temple that was built in 470 BC.
Imagine this mosaic like the geographical map of the Roman Empire.
At the end of the Roman Empire, here there were enemies everywhere.
I'm Elena Reddy, and welcome to Foreign Influence.
Qualities in a business person.
Yes, it's within us. It was ashamed of to something what
Music where I'll tell a story.
What's happening?
Your life can be better.
Happiness is about having a good time, it's about joy.
The girl will go along a faith side.
And the challenge is Hi, I'm Elena Reddy, and welcome to Foreign Influence. We are in Sicily, soaking up the history and the Caravaggio Trail with the fabulous team of Paul and Serena from Sicily Art Tour. Serena, you brought us to this beautiful town, Taormina. Why do you think this is so special for you?
Taormina is, I believe, the most beautiful place in Sicily, where in the world you can stand in front of the biggest active volcano in Europe, Etna, Signora Etna, and look at this amazing view of the Mediterranean. And we are actually standing on top of thousands of years of history, from Greek to Roman to Arab, Norman, and the English with the English Grand Tour. So a very special place, rich of history.
How did you come up with the idea of forming those tours and taking people to Sicily?
I think I really wanted to do three things, sharing my love for this island. I wanted to do something that allowed me to learn and learn more and more about my birthplace. And I also wanted to contribute. I wanted to contribute to Sicily. So, and I thought, you know, the tours and having a focus on art, history, culture, it would be a good way to contribute. So that's how the idea. And of course, I love meeting the people and enjoy the experience.
Welcome to this antique theater of Taormina. My name is Mojca, and I will share with you a little bit of knowledge about this theater. So where we are standing now, it's for me one of the most interesting points in this theater, because this split in the middle that we have, it's the earthquake, the consequence of the earthquake from 365. This front scene that we have in front of us was reconstructed in 1868. Saverio Cavallaro was responsible architect, but he was very criticized for his work because he used antique findings, columns, capitals, but new materials, cement. So not everybody was satisfied with his work. On the opposite side, the work was done in 1955. Before, it was just a hill with some rocks. From 1955, they built all these stone seats that you are seeing. So we have here every year From May, June till October, we have modern concerts, classic concerts, operas. G7 was here in 2017. Then also different representations. Also the children after the School of Dance, they have here representation. So it's really, really used, this theater. Some other legends about the head of Niobe. This is the only head that remained of all the statues that they used to be inside of the niches. Niobe was a lady with 12 children, 6 boys, 6 girls. And he was a very proud mother. She was telling around that she's more fertile than Leto. Leto was a mother just of Artemis and Apollo. And of course, the goddess was upset because no human should be better than she is, and she ordered to kill all the children of Niobe. This poor lady then was desperate. She was completely destroyed, and she asked Zeus to change her, to transform her to the rock, because she thought that with the heart from the rock, she will not suffer anymore. But the legend is telling, the story is continuing to tell, that also this rock was crying. The tears were coming out from this rock because she was so suffering, even in the form of the rock.
Regional Museum of Messina, and the garden is full of remains coming from the destroyed buildings and churches. So many emblems coming from the destroyed buildings, the noble buildings, and over there is an important gate, the gate of an important monastery, and on the other side there are many bronze bells coming from the destroyed churches. So this museum was built on the ruins of an important Greek church and monastery, the monastery of Santissimo Salvatore, destroyed by the earthquake which took place in 1908.
Arrived in Syracuse. Visiting Syracuse means traveling back in history, discovering a 1,000-year-old city whose origins lie in the remote past, which remains forever splendid in our eyes.
Bellomo Museum, together with Professor Michele Romano from the Accademia delle Belle Arti in Catania. And Michele, thank you very much for being with us. Where are we? Can you tell us a little bit more about this beautiful tomb that we see at the back here?
La tomba di Eleonora Branciforte di Sicilia, e lì c'è lo stemma della famiglia Branciforte d'Aragona, e queste sono le 3 virtù teologali.
This is the tomb of a noble woman coming from Aragona, and a traditional tomb of the 1400s with the beautiful decoration and the symbol of her family. What I find really interesting is that these three figures at the bottom represent her virtues. So how she was, a personality, a character, is represented by this symbol. This represents that she was a very good person, bontà, we say in Italian. This
Questa è la
is charity,
grazia.
that she would give herself to others. So here she's feeding the baby. What makes us understand that we are in the Renaissance is the decoration, and the shell.
Yeah.
Traditional of the Renaissance,
Che riprende la Toscana.
Tuscan style. The marble came from Carrara, worked in Syracuse, was in a church and moved here.
Agrigento area, and we're standing in front of the temple that was built in 470 BC. There are a few opinions about what it should be called. I think it should be called Temple Athena, but our fantastic tour guide Mark will tell us all about it.
I mean, we can see up there the city of Agrigento. In total, we are 60,000, no more. It's a small city. The Greeks, they didn't live up there, but below the hills. When we open the windows, because we live up there, we can see the temples down. So we named this area Valley. But when the people come from the ocean, the temple standing here, we have a long crest. We have this crest, look there. From the ocean, it's possible, it's possible today also, to see this long crest. Of course, today we have a few remains. But 2,000 years ago, it was, for the Greeks, this was an important skyline showing the power towards the ocean. Because it was possible to build temples on top of the hills. But from the hills to the coastline, we have 4 miles, 4.5 miles. From here to the coastline, we have 2 miles. So this was the best location to show the power towards the port, because our port today is there, but the Greek ancient port was right there. That port is important also to understand why the World War II didn't touch this area. The question is also who landed, who settled here? Of course, the Greeks, but Greeks coming from Rhodes and Crete. So Greeks coming from the islands. And so this is, we are here now. We have a date, 580 BC. So the Greeks settled here during the early 600 BC. We confirm this date digging, because we have pottery, ceramics, we have the records. We estimated here, during the 500 BC, 40,000 Greeks lived. This was a sort of Melbourne, a sort of Rome, a sort of London. 40,000 people today live in a small block in Rome, in Milano, I mean. But in that time, this was a very important city exporting sulfur, salt, durum wheat, barley, olive oil and wine, because we have in total in this area 28 temples. 25 are Greeks, 3 are Romans. So we named this temple D2 because below this one we have the temple D1. When we are not sure about the names, we use letters B, F, G, H. We named this temple also Juno, meeting point Juno. But 2 years ago, colleagues coming from Pisa, archaeologists, they discovered, I dig also sometime late Roman graveyards, bones, you know, I mean, important. But they discovered the two figurines in terracotta, in fragments, showing not Hera Juno for the Romans, I mean, but Athena. So, I mean, two figurines are not enough to change the name.
But the possibility.
It is better than nothing. The possibility is that it was dedicated to Athena. We need the new excavations to try to find more figurines. People could arrive nearby the temples to pray the god, and they couldn't stay inside, stay outside, nearby the altar, leaving the figurines beside the altar, beside the temples, also under the ground, because it's difficult to find the figurines outdoor. At the end of the Roman Empire, here there were enemies everywhere, Vandals, Ostrogoths. So the people didn't want to live inside the cities. They spread everywhere outside the city walls. So the city became smaller. Also in North Italy, it was normal to have a smaller, the demography was completely different. Yeah, for this reason, the people were scared to stay inside the city wall.
Of a plant called prickly pear. I think it's type of a cacti, and this is in its dry form. So this actually absorbs humidity from the ocean. You can see how dry it is, and it actually reminds me of dry coral. Very intricate patterns. I think it's actually quite pretty. Sicilians also make most delicious jam from the prickly pear. Like all of Sicily's best tourist destinations, Ragusa Ibla is steeped in history. In 1693, Ragusa was devastated by a huge earthquake, which killed around 5,000 inhabitants. As we're taking a stroll in this beautiful city, you can see that it was largely rebuilt, and many beautiful Baroque buildings remain in the city. It is very much a tourist attraction with its incredibly beautiful Baroque buildings and lots of little churches. As they call them, capellas. We're in Villa Romana, and did you know that the Romans used a natural rope to cut the marble? I don't know if it's a surprise to you or not, but it certainly was a surprise for me, because just imagining how long it would have taken them, and they passed this profession on from generation to generation. So they had families who were specifically marble cutters.
Villa was built at the end of the 3rd century AD, when the Roman Empire was divided in two parts, east and west. The owner of this villa, rich, very, very rich, but not only rich, rich and powerful, for the entrance, for the signum, for the basilica, and for the representation of the Roman Empire in his private villa. In this villa you can see a lot of beautiful mosaic, but this corridor, incredible. Incredible for the dimension, only one story, long 66 meters for 5 meters. Incredible for the quality, because it's a mosaic with a story with 35 different colors of natural marble, but incredible even for the geographical map of the Roman Empire. Corridor would divide the villa in public and private. Along the mosaic in this corridor, you can see capture, transport, and the embarking of live animals. In this side from Africa, in the other side from Asia, and in the middle of long corridor from Africa and from Asia, disembarking of live animals in Ostia. Ostia is a town near Rome, important for a famous port. The first port of the Roman Empire was in Ostia. And now, please my group, I show you the details. For example, you see this realistic picture Roman chariot. Even this chariot with the 3D effects, the chariot with the 3 cages, but the cages with the open top. And the open top means that the animal inside was live, so the hunters can put food or water through the open top. It's not a closed cage for that animal, but with the possibility of air, food, water for the animal inside. You see the cage in the middle with the red part. Red is not an error, it's the blood of the animal inside, lab injured, and then the blood outside the cage, a detail of extremely realism of this picture of a Roman chariot. This is the original marble for the columns, and in this corridor I show you the difference between a Roman soldier and a slave. You see the soldier with the yellow cap, the stick, symbol of power for Romans, and with the red belt used only by soldiers in this historical moment. You see slave without the cap, without the stick, and without the red belt, the difference between a soldier and a slave. After the capture, the transport, the embarking of live animals, 2 ostriches, and another animal embarked on a ship. You see the ship full of cages, the cages with the open top because the animal inside was live, the ship on the Mare Nostrum. Romans called the Mediterranean Sea Mare Nostrum, which means our sea. For Romans, the Mediterranean Sea, our sea. You see effects of navigation with the waves and with the fishes, beautiful. Those are 2 ostriches with underneath the shadow for impression of movement and profundity of the sea, and then the embarking, the navigation through the Mediterranean Sea, and from Africa and from Asia, disembarking of live animals in Ostia under the supervision of 2 important soldiers, with a cap, with a stick, with a red belt, with the hat. The Pannonic hat was the hat used even by the emperors. You see, no one with a net on the head, but important especially for the position. In the middle of long corridor, you imagine this mosaic like the geographical map of the Roman Empire, with the African part of the empire, with the Asian part of the empire, and in the middle of universe. For Romans, Italy, with Rome, and for Romans, Rome was caput mundi, which means capital of the world. In fact, the entrance of the basilica, you remember that I told you that for Romans a basilica was the important of, yes, the entrance in correspondence of middle of the universe, the power of Rome, the power of the empire in this basilica. If the emperor was the owner, the basilica was the room for the throne. But you see, it's also important. It's not a simple office, but a very important office.